Welcome to my latest video, which is all about my big American LaFrance V12 engine project. So if you've been following the channel, you'll know that the engine is now back in the workshop and that the main mission is to start the engine. So I was joined by Alan from Tweed's Garage and we checked over the engine and it's actually looking quite promising. Engine turns over freely, all the valves are free, but there are three main things that I need to tackle now. Firstly, the carbs are all a bit manky and need to be sorted, but looks all doable. Secondly, at some stage the engine had fallen over on its side and damaged the oil filter housing, so I need to sort that out. But probably the biggest issue is the ignition system. It's all in a bit of a sorry state. The caps have been left off, moisture's got in, it's all corroded, lots of bits broken and or missing. So that's the biggest priority and that's what I'm going to sort out next. Let's get to it. So I think now I'm going to tackle these distributors, or in general the ignition system. So I've taken off all the leads, lots of leads, 26 leads, no 28 leads, 2 times 24 plus 4 for the coils, and I'm left with two distributors, both pretty grotty inside. I've got two caps, one is okay and one is broken, unfortunately. Repairable though, I think. And I've got one arm which is broken but repairable, I think. So the aim of the game is to make one decent distributor, and then when it's up and running, follow on with the second one. So I think what I'll do is I'll whip this one off. This one is driven off the back of the dynamo. So a bit like on the Austin 7 actually. So I'm going to sort of work out where all the clamps are. Oh, incoming cat. Work out where the clamps are and take this distributor off and take it to the bench and see if we can give it a bit of a clean up of fettle and sort out this 6-pointed cam, 6-lobed cam. Anyway, let's do that. Let's get that off and take it to the bench. So I've just undone these bolts here, and now this just pulls straight out. So over to the bench, I think. So right, I've got this this plate off now. After having taken a lot of parts off it, I've noticed that somebody's been in here. This screw is missing out of here. These are eccentric adjusting cams, but I'll explain all that later. So now really what I need to do is clean it all up. I can see in here these are the advance weights. So as that spins, centrifugal advance, it changes the ignition timing. It's all there. That's quite good. This cam, I've got to sort that out. You can see it's all pitted. I need to address that, but it's all looking fairly good. Carry on taking it to pieces and carry on cleaning it all up really. Right, it's now in bits as far as it's going to go. To actually get this shaft out, I'd have to press this peened over pin out. I don't really want to do that. So I'm going to clean up what I've got here. You can see this has all had water and it's all rusted. Clean all that out. This spring clip is broken on that side, so I need to make a new one of these. Now the other distributor also has just one of these left. So what I might do is rob the other one or investigate. You can get clips like these that offer the Lucas distributor. I might see if they're the similar sort of size. Don't know yet. It's quite good that this bit's come off because this is pretty crucial. This is the 6-sided cam which lifts the points. I'll explain how it lifts it 12 times, not 6, but these surfaces need to be polished off, so that's quite good. So yeah, probably gonna clean all that up and then screw it back together again. So sometime later, and I've now cleaned everything up. So the main body of the distributor has come up quite nicely. It was originally red. It's going to be oily rag moving forward. So I might, this bit was black and that was red. I might repaint it, but not yet. First things first, let's get it running. So all this is the centrifugal advance mechanism, and this is the cam lobe, which has come up quite nicely. I'd use a bit of wet and dry on it. I'm going to polish it up with a Dremel and make it all nice and shiny. Otherwise I'm going to wear my points out. Talking of points, these are the old points here, and you can see how, well, A, worn away they are, and B, how pitted these are. Fortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, I've managed to locate some new points. So Katrina from the V12 shop in the States very kindly pointed me in the right direction, and I've got these points that came all the way from the US of A. The shipping was twice as much as the points, but hey ho. And I've also got some new condensers. Fortunately, these were obtained in the UK and were much cheaper, not very expensive. So that's quite good. So I'm getting close to screwing it all back together again. I did mention this bracket. On the other side, I've removed it, and what I've done is I've straightened it out like this, and then made a new one like that. And I'm just going to bend these over and make a new tab, rivet it on the side of there, and then I can make myself yeah, I can attach the, spit it out Chris, attach the distributor cap. And what I've done is I've robbed one of these spring clips from the other distributor, and I've got some other spring clips, these ones, which I will double up and use on the other distributor when I come to sort it out. So we're getting there, we're heading in the right direction. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the Dremel out, I'm going to polish this up, then I'm going to sort that out, and then I'm going to screw it all together, which is be good. And when I've done that, I'll explain exactly how this thing actually works. So that's now polished up, it's nice and smooth. I mean, it's not perfect, but I'll put a little smear of grease on that, and that should protect the points from grinding down. So that's good. Now to sort out that little bracket. So to sort out this bracket, I'm going to use these special pliers, which are, they're used in silversmithing and jewellery making to make sort of little hoops. So I'm just going to use them to roll a little sort of tubey section like this, like that. It's fairly straightforward. So it's got this pin needs to go in, which is pretty much there or thereabouts. I can use some other pliers just to bend it into shape. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's meant to be an interference fit, so what I'll do is it's got a slight curve on there. I'll rivet this to the side, and then when the pin's inserted, I'll just give it a little bit of a crimp, and that should hold it in place. So I'll rivet it on now. So that's all right. We haven't got too much protrusion on the inside, but I'll just put the plate in just to make sure nothing actually fails with it. Doesn't look like it will. So I think we're ready to reassemble now. It's pretty good. Right, let's just check that the lid goes on all right, the cap. It's quite tight, but yeah, it's looking good, looking good. Right, time to put the guts inside. So here it is, the distributor is now back together, so new points, new condensers. I had to use the original brackets because the ones that came with it didn't want to play ball, too small. Almost finished, one more thing of course, and that is the rotor arm. Now if you remember, this was snapped off, not this bit, that bit, and that was in there and it was snapped off flush. And I got it out by drilling a very small hole in there and using a drill bit and pushing it out like that. So what I need to do is I need to make a new one of these. And what I'm going to attempt to do, well, firstly, I'm just going to glue this one together. So I've got the right size as a pattern. It's got quite a nice, neat join there. Difficult, oh, you can see that. Extreme close-up. But I bought this. I bought lots of them actually, they're very cheap. Carbon rods. Straight out of a nuclear reactor, no doubt. These carbon rods. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to turn this down and make another one of these and insert it into the end of there. So that's the next job. When I've done that, I've pretty much finished the distributor and we can talk about how it works and we can test it. So let's get cracking. Right, that should do it, I think. Let the glue go off. Hopefully it'll glue it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't. It's just so I can get the right dimensions. Right, so here's my new brush. Here's the old one. Here's the new one.
they're pretty much the same. The new one's slightly longer, but then again I think the old one would have worn down a bit. So all I need to do now is I've pulled up this spring. Oops, I pulled this spring up like that, and now I need to try and put the brush back in the top of the spring. So I'll try and do that. Easy said than done. Oh God. Easier said than done. It's in. Spring loaded. That wasn't too bad. Could have been much worse. Stick that back on like that, and we can now explain how the whole thing actually works. So let's explain how this thing works. It's effectively two 6-cylinder distributors in one, because the engine is essentially two 6-cylinder engines separated by a common crankshaft. So we've got a 6-lobed cam here. So for every revolution of this this camshaft, this will open and close 6 times, and that will give you 6 sparks. And looking at the cap, it'll give you 6 sparks on every other HD port of the cylinder head of the distributor cap. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward. Once we've had a spark on the first bank, fairly shortly afterwards we get the points opened on the second set of points opens, and that will give us another spark, and that other spark, because our arm is got 2 ends, will give us a spark on every other set of holes. So it goes a spark here, a spark there, a spark here, a spark there, so it kind of zigzags or crosses over the cap as it goes round. Now this second spark happens, we can see that open there, we rotate it, opens there, that is 22.5 degrees apart, and that is because the V angle of the engine is 45 degrees, so we need to be going bang 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 bang, and 22 is 22.5 degrees because this shaft rotates at half the speed of the engine. Okay, so now we're getting our bang 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 on all different on alternate ports of the distributor cap. The final bit to point out is that this arm is slightly bent. It's not bent, but it's at an angle. And the reason it's at an angle is because these are evenly spaced at 30 degrees, but our firing is staggered by 22.5 degrees. So this is the missing 7.5 degrees, so that the end of the arm lines up with the position on the distributor cap. Right, that was my best shot of explaining how it all works. Oh, one more thing to say is that to adjust the points, we've got these little cams here that changes the points, and to adjust the timing, you rotate the entire distributor for the first bank, but for the second bank you rotate the points with respect to the distributor using this little adjusting cam here. So setting the ignition up is going to be quite an interesting thing. Just getting the right HD leads going to the right plugs is going to be fun, but actual fine adjust is going to be using a strobe on the flywheel, I think. But anyway, we'll get to that. I think the next thing to do is to test it, see if it all works.
Right, here we've got a little test rig set up. We've got the distributor in the vise, which is the chassis. So the chassis is earthed back to negative. Got a little crocodile clip with which is the positive feed to the coil. So there's 2 coils, of course, and you've got a jumper to the second coil, and then you've got the negative going to the 2 different posts on the distributor. And finally you've got the HD leads going from the coil to the top, and then I've set it up such that these are going to be 2 consecutive sparks, a bang bang situation. So all I need to do now, oh yeah, on the bottom of here I've got a way of turning the dizzy round like that. I can actually attach it to a drill, but I don't need to do it to show you. And I can just spin it around by hand. So let's connect it up and see what happens.
Right, lights have been dimmed to create a bit of suspense. I'm going to connect the positive lead like that. I'm going to turn the lights off and spin it with the drill, and we'll see what happens. Okay, here goes. I think that is pretty conclusive. That works quite nicely. As you saw, the sparks went in the pair. I think I'm getting a few phantom sparks in there, and I think that's because there are no other leads attached, and it's trying to find, every time you hit the post on the distributor cap, it's trying to find a way out, and it's maybe jumping across adjacent posts. But that's pretty good. I think now let's turn the light back on and do something else. So I'm quite pleased about that. It's all looking very promising. Having sparks is a major step forward to starting this engine. So the question is, what next? I think I'm going to tackle the oil filter housing next, but also I've got one mind on the future, and to that end I've been and met with a bunch of very knowledgeable guys who know all about large engines in large chassis, and here's a quick preview of that. So that was very interesting. Well, more than interesting, it was awesome. And I got to talk to lots of people and got lots of interesting information about chassis. So if you want to see that, don't forget to hit subscribe. Also, if you like this video, please hit like. Please do leave comments, because the more comments, the better. I get to know what people like seeing and what they don't like seeing, etc. Also, if you want to support the channel, this is a shop there or there, not quite sure. And I've got some more stuff with these awesome designs. So if you want to support the channel, hop over there. But for now, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching.